Here is Ballycotton Bay, and this is a 16 1.5 hand, 4-year-old thoroughbred gelding by Quality Road. And he was really the star of the day. The reason that we took the cross country field trip was for Bally because he's ready. He's jumped in the ring, he's jumped in the field a few times, and so he's ready to go pop over some cross country jumps and see what he thinks of that. So he was the one that really was the reason we took the trip today. We brought a couple others along just to sort of fill spots on the trailer and see what they might make of it. But Bally was the reason for the adventure. And so I know that I tend to be cautious. I think I'm overly cautious or cautious to a fault, and that's why I like riding with other people, especially my friend Martha, because she will push me and push me out of my comfort zone a little bit. She'll make me do things that I never would have done if I was just schooling on my own. So, but I guess at the end of the day, I feel like if I'm schooling by myself and I choose to be overly cautious and to end the school with a horse who's extremely confident, and maybe we didn't jump that big, versus a horse who I could have potentially scared or given a not so great experience by potentially overfacing, I would always choose the first option of not pushing the limits and having a horse who really had a great experience. Now, that being said, that's just something that I'm aware of myself, is that I tend to keep it very small and to not really push very hard. So I just keep that in the back of my mind. And the reason I say that is because Bally was just unbelievable today. I actually don't remember the last time I took a horse out for their first cross country school and they just jumped around the way he did. I mean, the horse did not bat an eye at a single thing. And I think it's very normal and to be expected for really green horses to have some stops here and there. I hate runouts, that's rider error if they run by the jump, but stopping straight in front of a jump can be useful learning experiences for horses. And they're often inevitable and they're just part of developing young horses. But Ballet literally never, I mean, forget runouts, certainly no runouts, no stopping. I mean, he just plodded around I would have thought somebody took him out here yesterday and schooled him up for me so that he would be ready to come out today and do it with me. He was just unbelievable how brave and straight and easy. And man, he really jumped well. He had some absolutely beautiful jumps. So he is just putting all of this together. He took that last school we did out in the field at my house, and he really connected the dots and just came out like an absolute champion today. So we actually did a lot more than I ever would have really expected to do or ever thought we would do coming into this ride. So here are these jumps that we're starting with. These are like starter level jumps. So they're all around 2 foot, 2, 3. And then as he goes, we start adding in some beginner novice size fences because he was just so game. It was just no problem. I didn't feel like I was taking unnecessary risks by asking him to jump a little bit bigger fences because he was just telling me unequivocally that this was easy and fun and he was up for the challenge. He really jumped that nicely. He felt quite pleased with himself after we jumped that one. Such a good boy. I mean, what an easy horse to do a first cross country school on. He is just ridiculously straight and brave and really putting the footwork together and finding his form. And he really impressed the hell out of me today. He jumped that little bit bigger roll top really well. And we had a little celebratory moment there on the other side. I gave him a big pat. He was so pleased with himself. This log here that we're going to, we jumped it once the other way. Now we're coming back towards the camera. This is always on their beginner novice course for their starter horse trials. And this log with its little U in it causes so many problems. And horses, green horses to the level find that change in shape sometimes maybe a little bit difficult to process or a little spooky. But Bally was great. And then he came around and jumped that roll the other way really nicely down the hill. So now we're at the little mound. And he was super walking up. He thought that was no big deal at all. I always find walking up to be a little bit easier than walking down, so I usually let them walk up first. But of course, every horse is different, so sometimes you might run into a horse who you would go down on first. But Bally was very confident to step up the bank. So this is the first time we're coming down, and this is a very normal reaction. And what a reasonable horse. I mean, just a little moment of trying to figure out the question, me a little bit encouraging, and what a smart, brave response. So I thought we would just do it one more time to make sure that we sort of fully processed what was going on. And also coming back to do it the second time is the tell, because if they didn't really understand it and they just scared themselves, then you're definitely going to have a bigger issue the second time you come around. If they processed, it will be easier the second time. And that was definitely easier. So just such a good boy. These are the scary bee boxes. He was not very fazed by it. So then he was feeling so confident at this point that I decided to have a canter around and keep coming in the canter to this little bit bigger ramp. This is on the beginner novice course as well. So I thought this was a pretty good ask here. And he nailed it. Super straight, perfect distance, great form. I was feeling very happy with him after that jump. Such a star. So then that was so easy. I thought that we could try this sort of triple log. It almost has like a little tricaner effect because of the way the logs at the base are spread and it's kind of dark and hollow in the inside. And some horses find that kind of spooky, but obviously not Bally. He's like apparently a bit of a freak about how brave he is to these things. So he really trotted it nicely the first time. So I thought we'd come back around in the canter. And he got a good distance, but he just jumped it a little bit awkwardly out of the canter, which is fine. So then we're just going to come back again and try and smooth it out a little bit. And before that jump, like 5 or 6 strides out, I was just giving him a little tap behind my leg to say, like, really keep coming. I really mean it. I want you to try and come in the canter. And he really was such a good boy. And he was a little bit awkward about it, but he did. He gave it a real try and then came back the second time and jumped it super nicely. He's getting to that point now where he's jumped enough that I can insist a little bit more, when I want him to trot or when I want him to canter. I can say, no, I really mean it. You're capable of cantering it, or I want you to trot it. And he's really responding well to that. Really good at the ditch. Walked over it with no problem, came back around, trotted over it cutely. So no need to do that again. And now these are our last couple of jumps. He was getting kind of tired by this point. And this log here, this is a bigger log and it's super scary because all the bark's falling off. And I really never jump it because I think it's so spooky and the horses don't really like it. But with Bally, he's just ridiculously brave. So I decided to take a chance and he had no problems with it. And now this is our last jump. It's bigger. Again, this is a beginner novice or novice fence. And he's super tired, really brave, but just kind of jumped it in slow-mo, a little down in his shoulders. I just felt tired. I mean, he was pooped. He had done so much. He was unbelievable. So certainly no reason to keep pushing or asking for more. He had given me like 200% in this ride. He was incredible. So that was plenty. And this is just some footage of him back at the trailer. And then there's video of him loading at the very end.